So it has been quite a while since we've talked about the world of stimulus and Social Security, admittedly, and a huge reason why has been because the news has been physically relatively quiet. But the really great news is that we finally have some new information. As most of you guys know right now inside of Congress, they're working on several programs when it comes to the world of Social Security, Medicare, stimulus, and everything in that particular world. There are several programs that are now floating around, such as trying to do the $200 Social Security boost at monthly, or otherwise $2,400 stimulus for people that receive Social Security, because 200 times 12 is 2,400. There's also a lot of talks about trying to extend the actual solvency of Social Security, and then a lot of other big programs. But the big great news is that in today's video, I want to talk about a brand new bill that was now officially just released last week, if you are watching this on release date, in order to help and try to do something now related to Social Security. I think to start is that it's really important to clarify is that there was another video that you might have seen. I made another video about a month ago that talks about a new bill also related to Social Security. That bill is actually something that's separate from the bill that we're going to be talking about in today's video. So hopefully there's still brand new information to kind of collect here. The bill that we talked about last time is called the Social Security Expansion Act, and the bill that we're going to be talking about in today's video is going to be called the Fair Shares Act. So there's two separate bills, so hopefully that kind of clarifies, if you've seen another video, that this is still relatively new, brand new information. So with that being said, let's get this video started right on the spot. But as always, real fast before we begin, if you guys enjoy videos like this, the same drill, remember to smash the like button. Feel free to leave a comment, any questions, thoughts, or if you wanted to say hi. It is always great to hear from you guys. And of course, as always, consider subscribing and hitting the bell for similar videos like this, other finance topics. There'll be videos at the end screen. And with that being said, let's get this video rolling and started. So we're going to start by giving a little bit of a background information about the last Social Security bill, just as a little bit of a refresher. And I figured it's important to kind of clarify so you guys know the big difference. And this happened actually like a whole month ago anyway. But the last episode that we talked about a Social Security bill is that there was a bill that was reintroduced. And specifically I say reintroduced because it was introduced a while back, but they had to bring it back and try to reintroduce it again by Bernie Sanders on February 13th. So basically about 2 months ago from the release date of this particular video. Now, this particular bill that we talked about last time, it was called the Social Security Expansion Act, hoping to try to boost Social Security by $200 monthly or otherwise $2,400 annually through this particular program, without raising taxes for those making under $250,000. So in other words, this particular bill is meant to create a cap of about $250,000, where if you make under that amount, no impact will be made in terms of your taxes. But if you do make over that amount, that's the amount of money that they're going to collect extra in taxes in order to try to get people to pay their fair share, in order to use that money in order to fund this particular Social Security Medicare expansion program. Now, the new bill that we're going to be talking about in today's video now is called the Fair Shares Act. So how this particular bill works is that this is a bill that was introduced by Senator Sheldon Whitehouse, who created this bill last week from the release date of this video, but it's going to be relevant because we're going to be talking about this bill in the coming weeks. So even if you're watching this in the future, and this is really focused on trying to extend Social Security and Medicare's actual solvency by raising taxes to those making over $400,000 or more. In other words, instead of the $250,000 cap, this one is going to have a $400,000 cap, which I think is pretty incredible because most people watching this video probably do not make, sadly, we don't make $400,000, but I mean commonly, because most people do not make $400,000 in our country or more. And how this particular bill works is that first off is that they're going to be raising taxes, especially on the wealthy individuals, in order to try to collect more money in order to fund Social Security and Medicare. And then using that particular money, what they're going to do is that they're going to take that money and now try to extend it so that the actual program can survive. And they're estimating that this is going to extend its solvency by about 20 years. And then what they're going to do after that is that there's also a lot of tax policy policies within this particular bill that they're hoping to use in order to try to end a lot of the loopholes that typical rich people use when it comes to trying to avoid or to reduce their taxes. Those loopholes they're hoping to try to end. And I believe the specific amount is that they're hoping to collect about 1.2% extra. While that might not sound like a lot of money, in terms of taxes, when you're talking about an amount in the $1 million range, and this is very, very realistic because this is the target market of the people that they're trying to collect more money from, it's a lot of money. Just to collect even just 1% is a lot of money. But they're hoping to try to collect several percentages of money in order to try to do everything that we just mentioned that they're hoping to try to do. And again, to really, really clarify, it means that they're going to be increasing the tax rate by 1.2%. Not that taxes are going to be 1.2%. I hope it's hopefully really important to clarify that, because I know there was a little bit of confusion from past videos. And I think, hopefully it's finally important to put it out there. Now, in terms of the significance about this bill and my personal thoughts about it, so this is the part that's a little bit more unique, is that I believe that right now, and again, I say I believe because nobody knows what the future is, so everything is speculation, everything is belief right now. But the big idea is that there are now several bills that are going around in order to try to do something related to Social Security. I think the really, really great news is that across the board of politicians and Congress people, that represent our nation, is that most people are in favor of trying to do something related to Social Security. There's a little bit of divide about what they want to physically do, but there's across the board is that there's a lot of agreement on trying to at least do something. This isn't with every single person, because keep in mind is that there are several people, especially in the Republican Party, that are now talking about trying to end Social Security in general. But certainly if you're talking about the Democratic Party as a whole, most people are in support of trying to do something related to Social Security, whether this be trying to increase the actual dollar amount by $200 a month or $2,400 every single year, or by just physically increasing or extending its solvency so that we can physically have this program go on for longer, or by just improving the actual quality of the program in general. Such as like how the system works, the tech, the tax policy, the tax loopholes, trying to kind of balance out the wealth that's currently being distributed inside of our country. These are just several programs that's going through. I don't know if this particular bill is going to be able to go through. However, it is very, very believed that at the end of the day, one of the Social Security bills that was presented is very likely to eventually have to go through, just because of the nature that if they don't end up going through, it's going to potentially end Social Security. And I think it's very fair to say that Social Security is a lifeline for a lot of people. It is one of the most important programs inside of our country, and also one of the most deserving programs as well, because this is also, not only is it such an important program, but it's also a program that many individuals pay into during their lifetime through Medicare/Social Security taxes from their regular jobs. So it would kind of, ethically make sense that if you're going to be paying so much money for a certain, program, that you would be hoping that when you actually physically retire, the governor or the government would at least be able to give back some of the money to at least make it fair, because a lot of this money is our money at the end of the day, our money, because we paid into it during our lifetime when we were working our particular jobs. And I think that's the most important thing to really be able to take away from all of this. The other key benefit about this particular bill, now going back to focus on this particular bill, is that because this bill is technically a little bit of a mini version of the last bill that we talked about, because this bill actually sadly does not include the $200 boost program, it does mean that the bad news is obviously is that it doesn't have these programs that we want. The good news is that it does mean that it's at least easier or more likely to approve, because it's a smaller program, because the larger the program is, the more demanding it is, and the more demanding it is, the harder it will be to approve, because the reason why is that you're going to have to appease even more people in order to try to agree and be on the same page in order to do such a thing. And so that's really the story and situation to this particular program that's happening right now, so known as the Fair Shares Act, because as the name suggests, it's about getting people to pay their fair share of taxes, and then of course to actually extend its solvency, like mentioned, so that we can actually have the physical program longer. Now, it's also very possible that they might end up approving more than one bill. So that's also another possibility, that maybe they end up approving this bill, but then they still end up approving another bill in order to do other programs, such as like the $200 boost. And it would make sense because, at the end of the day, inflation is still record high. It's still going up. It's getting better. There's so many videos we made about inflation. Highly recommend checking that. I'll put some at the very end screen if you'd like to check it out in order to understand the inflation situation. But as things are getting more expensive, it becomes even more important to try to get these programs through. And I think that's the ultimate takeaway from everything that we just mentioned, basically about all the boosters, the programs, the actual insolvency, the solvency, the money, and everything in that world. So with that being said, that's pretty much what I really wanted to cover in today's video. So if you guys found that relatively insightful, maybe consider smashing the like button, leave a comment, subscribe, hit the bell. And with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. As always, stay safe, stay well, and hope to see you guys next time. Thank you guys so much again.